I tell people all the time, if you're going to play the game, get in the game.
Yeah.
You going to play the game and sit on the sideline and wonder why you're being benched and you're not really getting the benefits. If you're going to play the game, suit up and play. Suit up and play. You're going to go to corporate, but you're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. You got all these. You're not playing the game.
Like, if you in practice, you ain't going to let, if you playing receiver, cornerback, whatever position you playing, you're not just going to let the other guy that's competing for your same spot be like, oh, yeah, you can go ahead, bro. Just take my spot. Like, over and over and over again.
But that's what you do in corporate.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, I don't know. It's simple, but I didn't even think about it until you just said it. It's like, it's the same concept.
It is.
It's like you letting somebody else get shine in front of the coach, letting somebody else get better at something than you. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Custom Journeys podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Baines. As always, we're bringing you back some amazing guests. My goal is to introduce you all to some amazing STEM professionals and help you all throughout your own career journey. And today we're going to be doing that by talking to Tamara McLemore. She is a PMP. She's gone from mass communication major in college, worked as a loan manager,
For a minute, I did
broker?
work for a loan officer. I was a mortgage broker. I own my own mortgage company. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yes, I was like looking at LinkedIn. I'm like, you went all kinds of ways to now, you were consulting for different companies. Now you're actually helping others get certified as project managers. So excited to kind of learn about your career pathway, what it takes to become PMP certified and everything else. So thank you for coming all the way from Atlanta to be on the show. I know that's not exclusively why you're here, but I appreciate you making time for me while you're in town.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to share some nuggets because everybody thinks that, no offense, that you have to be an engineer, get that engineer background to be in tech. And it's just not true. It's not true at all.
Yeah, let's dispel these myths because it's like, it's so many different non-traditional ways to get into this. And a lot of people don't realize that they have transferable skills, whether they're teachers or, whatever, sales professionals, whatever the case may be. I meet a lot of teachers that's like, look, I'm done with these classrooms. I'm done with these babies.
Absolutely.
And getting paid way less than what I should be getting paid. I hear about tech and all of that. So I'm excited to kind of talk to you about this. What do you like? What is your current role like? What keeps you busy? I know you have your own company. So kind of tell us a little bit about that for starters.
So right now, my full-time, my passion, my impact project, I tell people if I didn't need a check, I would do this for free. So currently I'm helping people pass the PMP certification the first time and within 30 days. And so the project management professional certification, it is a highly sought after piece of paper. Only 60% pass the first time. And let me tell you, you will get passed over for a position if you don't have this piece of paper. So it is very important in my non-traditional methods, not only get people the PMP certification, but I actually teach people project management. And so that's what separates me from other people. I've actually done the work, and I'm like, not anti-school, but we're not reading a book. We're not taking these notes. We're actually talking about what we do day to day. And so I want people to show up different and have that about them. So that's what separates me from these other fly-by-night programs.
Okay, I like it. I kind of chuckled when you said, you would be doing it for free if you had to. I was like, hey, look, somebody gonna hit you up and be like, I heard you do it for free. You gonna hook me up? What's up?
But I have bills, so that is a non-factor. No.
Okay, I got you. I feel you. Hey, that's cool. So, like, with your format, I'm just kind of curious. You said, I like that you do, like, the experiential learning or, like, case studies or whatever it is. Maybe you can kind of explain that. But, like, could somebody in their current job, like, use the framework or the teachings that you're teaching them and, like, even apply to their current role that they're in currently? Is that kind of how?
Immediately. And so here's the thing. People think after you get the certification, you'll start to use it. No. My people use it, like, the next day. So say, for instance, you're working on a project and we're always given the budget, given the deadline. I need this to be done in 2025, $10 million. Well, I teach my people to push back a little bit, Say, well, how did you come up with these requirements? Did we meet with the IT? Did we meet with the business? Did we meet with the customer? And just start to ask more questions and understand what gather requirements mean. Because guess what? They're responsible. And if you pull a rabbit out of a hat, is what I call it, then you're going to be forced to do it again and again. And that's how people burn out. So I have people immediately the next day. And then what about the methodologies? Waterfall versus agile. Saying, well, you know what? We've been doing it this old school way, waterfall, forever. Let's try something different. Let's try agile. Let's try a little hybrid. And so you don't need to finish my boot camp. Like literally the next day, day one, day two, you're using the tools that I teach you. Day two.
And you said 60 days or within what's the time?
You didn't get the memo? Beyonce said we're going outside. So no, it's not 60 days. I would say most people pass within 30 days. And I do
30 days. Okay.
Yeah, I do have some people to pass within a week or two. They're very aggressive because they want to get back to life as normal. But I would say a good 30 days.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice. Yo, that's powerful. 'Cause I do know like project management is definitely, one of the roles that I see a lot of people looking to. But, people hear about tech and they're like, I want to get into tech, but I don't know how to code, but I have these skill sets. And it's like, okay, hey, what certifications are obtainable or realistic? So I like that that's something they could pursue. You mentioned like 60% of people fail
the first time.
60% of people fail their first time.
Yes, including me.
Okay, yeah, that's what I want to get into. Because I remember you told me, you was like, I have been doing the project management work. I failed the first time.
And the second time. I got to be fully transparent with this.
Okay.
And so I worked for the federal government at the time, and they sent me back and forth to D.C. And by this time, I had been working in project management probably 10, 12 years. So I knew project management, infrastructure, and application. And so literally the teacher would tell me, put your hand down, Tamara. Let somebody else answer the questions because you know it. Well, I didn't pass. And then I came back from DC to Atlanta, took a 12-week study group. People were going left and right, failing, including me. So then my husband was like, okay, we got to do something different. And so he found me a tutor, and the tutor said the same thing, you know it. And I'm like, I'm going to scream if somebody else says I know it. But it's really the questions and the disconnect from the curriculum and what you're doing every day and the exam. And so I put my secret sauce that I've learned and I make it work for each individual person on how they learn, where they've come from as far as their background. And that's what separates me.
That's good. Yeah, 'cause I know everybody's different types of learners. You got visual learners. I don't know all the different types by title. But I know you receive it differently. Some people got to write it down. Some people got to hear it. Some people got to like go through experiences to learn it. So I think that's important that you're like tailoring it to like what their needs are and like their learning ability. And I think practicing it is the best way to go about it, or even teaching it to others is the best way to go about it. So that's pretty cool. When did let's take it back. Like what even got you interested in becoming like a project manager? I know I kind of peeked at their LinkedIn. I was like, yo, you went for mass communication and you were talking about broadcast journalism earlier. So what even got you into this project management world?
So back in the day, I wanted to be a sports journalist as well. And so this is before, Google University. And so I didn't know how much journalists made until my senior year. And when I looked it up, I was like, oh, like under 20,000 back in the day. What am I going to do with that? I'm literally going to be on my mom's couch. So I was like, I cannot go into this field, but I have this degree. And so since I went to the Xavier University, I would take all my friends to Kaplan or one of the other programs on Saturday to study for the MCAT. And one day they were like, what are you doing? You drop everybody off. And I'm like, I don't know what I want to do when I grow up. So they had me take an exam, and it said I should be an attorney. That's what I said. I'm like, oh my God. So then I started studying for the LSAT and passed and started applying to law school. I'm like, I don't want to do this.
So you ain't know what you want to do. You took a test, somebody said lawyer. You like, okay, we're going that way. What?
And I'm like, I don't want to do this. And I did know attorneys. My college roommate, her dad was an alderman. Now he's a judge. And I had, I knew attorneys, but I knew litigation or judge. I didn't know. That's all I knew. And I didn't want to do that. So my aunt told me she worked for, I don't want to date myself, but MCI WorldCom. And she was like, girl, you don't know anything. And you need to get into tech. And I'm like, what's that? And she told me what to do, what companies were hiring. And literally, Ericsson hired me within 6 months and building switches and cell sites. Of course, I didn't, but I was the project manager building switches and cell sites in the South. Matter of fact, I had Houston Cellular as one of my companies building it out. And so that's how I started in tech.
Yo, that's crazy. That's
Yes.
cool. From like 0 to 100 real quick. Okay.
Yeah, you got to get your hands dirty in tech, like back in the day, because we didn't have all these tools. And so,
Yeah.
literally, when equipment delivered, I was there. And if my guys needed tools, I had to go to Gray Bar, like whatever anybody needed. They're going up the pole. Like I was there with them. So that's how I learned it. And then I worked with capacity engineers and dimensioning engineers, so I learned that. And then at the time, SAP just coming out, and so I became an SAP guru because that's what AT&T had. And so I learned infrastructure and application at the same time.
Okay.
So when I
Nice.
say I got a crash course in 4 or 5 years, like literally.
For real. No, that's good. I mean, SAP, I know that's ERP system.
Correct,
Right? So I
correct.
mean, that's good that you learned that because I mean, I hear about consultants charging all kinds of money to like implement those systems. So you got crash course, but it was like in highly sought after skills. So that's pretty amazing. You were kind of young at this point, new to tech, woman, black. So I mean, you got some isms in there. What was that kind of experience like?
Actually, it was pretty great because the companies I worked for, they really mentored me.
Nice.
And I had some amazing mentors, and they were mostly white men. I'm going to be totally honest. And they pulled me aside. They were like, do you really want to do this? Because our wives want to be housewives. They go to school to get a MRS. Do you? I mean, I'm being totally honest. And I was like, yes. And they just groomed me. Like literally, they just groomed me to move up the ranks, and it was that simple. I just did what they told me to do.
That's awesome. That's amazing. I think it's important to tell those stories because, I mean, I think whether you call it allyship or whatever, mentors can come in all shapes and colors and whatever. It's just, finding those people that are willing to advocate for you, sponsor you, and, help guide you along the way. So I think that's awesome. So you did that for quite a bit. After that, what was kind of like your thought process? You just wanted to kind of go up the ladder as high as you could, or
No.
were you looking for like increasing your pay, or what were you kind of?
Okay, I was always looking for increasing the pay, but I did not want to move up.
Oh, really?
I was one of those people that was always tagged to move up, and they were grooming me. And I was always like, not me, because I like managing projects and not people. And so I was always the token. Literally. And I would have to either have that hard conversation to say, not me, but then I felt some kind of way because I was chosen. I was the chosen one. And so that was difficult for me, but at a point I would have to be honest and say, this is not me. Pick her, pick him. Because I love project management. And when you move up, it's all about, the strategic plan, and it's just different. It's just different.
That's a good point to make because I think a lot of times people kind of just think that like you have to always pursue for more, like the next title, like, okay, hey, you're the lead now. Now you got to look at, becoming a manager. Now you got to look at becoming the director, now the VP. So they automatically assume you want to go up.
Correct.
But you found something you enjoy doing.
Absolutely.
So it's like, why?
Why? Matter of fact, when I worked for the federal government, they were training me for SES status, and that's one of the highest positions you can be, right up under a presidential appointee. And they were sending me back and forth to D.C., to network, and I was like just thinking, I cannot do this. I love the networking, but I like the projects. And like I said, I just had to let them know this is just not for me. Put your time and energy into somebody else, that wants to do it.
Gotcha. So what are some other notable companies that you've worked at? I think I saw Delta Airlines.
Yes. So I thought I grew up with the federal government, but with Delta, I really grew up because now I'm building out subsidiaries, I'm building out companies. And that's when everything that I've learned so far, I was able to implement. And so those projects were fun. Like, they were fun.
Yeah.
And so I worked in a male-dominated industry sector at Delta, Tech Ops. So Tech Ops is when the planes are coming in. I'm literally walking in with the planes, like literally on the runway. And I helped them build the engine shop, the Airbus engine shop, Delta Material Services, Delta Flight Products. And I just love technology and I love a challenge. One of my number one strengths is a learner. So when I'm learning something I've never heard about and we have to put it together, I like that. So I was able to do some good things at Delta.
That's cool. I think leading with that curiosity is important. It always keep you sharp, interested, and engaged. You said building out subsidiaries. That sounds like you should have got a paycheck as subsidiary. That's a different entity or a different company.
It is. And when you're doing it, you don't even realize you're doing it until you step back. Like literally, I did not realize it until I started getting these calls from headhunters, and they were like, "Do you know what you just did?" And I was like, "Can you tell me why did you call me?" And they told me what you did at Delta because it was on my resume. And so to me, it's just business as usual.
Yeah.
And they were like, "No," these headhunters like, "No, you have done some amazing work." And so that's how I was like, "Oh, okay."
Oh, okay. Any favorite story from your time there? Like maybe favorite project you may have worked on, or
I would say Delta Material Services because that project started out of a need, and that's how a lot of businesses start. So it is cheaper for an airline to go get the decommissioned plane and get the part that you need. And the story is somebody in finance was looking through the paperwork and was like, "Oh my gosh, we're making a killing from buying the whole airplane, getting the part we need and accessing it through a third party." So the brilliant Delta that they are, they brought that in-house. And that's what I helped them build out so they can sell parts to themselves and other airlines. And a lot of people think it's just the passenger airlines. Do you know who has one of the biggest fleet now?
I'm gonna say UPS or FedEx.
Now it's Amazon. It wasn't.
Oh yeah, of course.
How do you think we got our packages during COVID?
Yeah, yeah.
So literally, I set up. I was a project manager, so we set up that subsidiary, so the SAP part,
Okay.
as well as the warehouse, because now you have to buy exactly.
Yo.
So that was one of the projects. I was like, okay, I like this a lot.
Okay. I gotcha. Okay, and tell me the story of how you got into like coaching people, because I remember you telling me last when we originally met, like it was during your time at Delta, you were frustrated with your experience, but you were being tapped on the shoulder to be like, "Hey, we need you to kind of help so and so with whatever." But you tell me the story because you know better than me.
It's just something that happens natural with me. So literally, I remember one occasion I was in the restroom and I'm washing my hands, and the young lady was like, "Is your name Tamara?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why are we whispering? Like, why are we whispering?" And she literally said, "Such and such told me to talk to you." That was another GM. And at Delta is a beast. I think 80,000 employees. So you have to have the entrepreneur spirit. And you have to know how to navigate the different business lines and the different, just everything. And if you sit at your desk and think that the project is just going to come from the sky, you get a rude awakening. So she came to me and I just helped her navigate. I was like, what project and what GM did you like the most? And you had a good rapport. I'm like, you need to go have a coffee chat with him. If you feel like your project is in jeopardy of being cut, do you just sit there and wait? That's what most people do. Like, it's going to happen. Like, you can feel it. When they start saying we're not going to travel and things like that, those are the signs. I'm going to need you to act. And so I was just coaching people that I was around. Like, why wouldn't I share this information? Like, you need to, network within the organization. And I was a contractor. And so my contracting company was like, we want to give you a job, something that you're already doing. That's what I said.
I have a job.
I have a job.
What
They were
you
like,
talking
no,
about?
we want you to be an on-site consultant coach. We heard you were coaching other people, and we want you to do it. And so that's how my coaching started. In addition to that, a lot of my friends were referring people who were referring people. And they were getting jobs and promotions. And I was so busy. I was like, okay, everybody stop. No one refer anybody until I can put something around this. Like, what is this? And so that's how I started coaching individuals.
That's pretty cool. I think it's a lot there. I think number one, like networking within the organization is so important, especially when you're at these big orgs. Well, at any size org. Let me not even like put any stipulation on the size of it. I remember I had a conversation with a young lady who was a software engineering apprentice at a startup company, I think here in Houston, and she was like, "Hey, it's only a couple of us that are apprentices. They saying, hey, they don't know who they're gonna pick. They got budgetary constraints." And so we kind of just talked through the process of like what she could do to kind of stand out.
Yes.
I was like, look, you guys start talking to people in different groups.
Absolutely.
Go get super curious. Go start asking, hey, how does this work? What projects are y'all working on? Like,
That
start
part.
digging into it. So I think that's like an amazing piece of advice that you gave people that a lot of people just overlook.
Absolutely. And another thing is, so I love LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my best friend. And so people would come to me and be like, somebody's looking at my LinkedIn within the organization. They're nosy and they're in my business. I'm like, they are checking you out to see if you meet the qualifications for this next project, and your LinkedIn needs to be updated. You need to be ready. So stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And so people, I tell them LinkedIn is not social media. LinkedIn is where you need to be all day. So literally I had, I have a mastermind. And our first day of mastermind, I had everybody pull out their phone, go in their settings and do their screen, what do they call it?
Oh, screen time?
The gasp and the looks and the embarrassment. And I was like, if you can give 7 to 10 hours on TikTok and Instagram, surely LinkedIn can get an hour. Surely.
Yeah. Now, it's been a game changer for me. It's like, it's just...
That's where we met.
Exactly. So that's the thing. It's like, I enjoy the entertainment of TikTok and IG and YouTube and Netflix and everything. But it's like, if I'm not where I want to be yet. So it's like, I need to be spending time, investing time on the things that are going to help me get there.
That part.
And a big part of it is like, who do you know that can help you, right? So it's like, if you don't know nobody, you better get your ass on LinkedIn.
Exactly.
Start sending DMs to whoever saying, hey, I think
it's going down in the DMs on LinkedIn.
Exactly. That's where it's at. So I think that's so important. I'm glad you did that exercise with your people in your mastermind. I know the light bulbs went off.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And that's how Delta found me. People think I applied for Delta. A recruiter found me on LinkedIn.
Wow.
Yeah. I never applied. They found me on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is my jam.
That's the thing. That's the way to go. I feel you. So going back to the teaching, so you end up getting a second job while you got your first job. They like, yo, we want you to teach people or coach people. What was that like? Was it like group coaching within Delta?
It was. So once again, if I see that I can do something better, I'm going to do it. So one of the program managers, she literally had the PMBOK under her arm. We're walking to a meeting, and I was like, why do you have the PMBOK? That is, why you have that book? She's like, we study that book. I'm like, no. You don't study the PMBOK. That is a reference guide. And so I was just telling her the right way to study. She's like, okay, bet. We have a study group. You mind coming? I said, okay, I'll put together a lunch and learn. So I did the lunch and learn. The GMs and the director said, okay, we're going to shut this down and we want you to teach it. And I was like, whoa. I was like, at that time, I was volunteering through PMI Atlanta.
Okay.
And in Atlanta, you teach at different organizations and different companies. So I had a group at Emory University. So
I'm sorry, you said volunteering?
Oh, you sound like my husband. Okay, yes. I was volunteering for 12 weeks. Teaching 25 people with the waiting list.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. You can.
No. You're right, because that's how my business started. My husband made me pull out the calculator, and he was like, "Now, how much?"
Look at the man.
He was. He said, "Now,
Thank God."
He said, "Now, how much is this per person?" And you got 25 people
with a wait list.
If you don't get an EIN number. And that's how my business started.
You about ready to snatch you up like, girl, what's wrong with you? Okay.
We were literally at a gas station.
Yeah.
And he got out the car to pump gas, and I snuck and called somebody to coach them real quick. And he heard me. He was like, if you don't get an EIN.
Don't do that no more for free, girl. What's wrong with you? Okay, my bad.
That's okay.
Okay, so you volunteering with the PMI, doing that for 12 weeks.
Yep.
Okay. And then what I'm sorry, I just all
so that's okay. And so one of the GMs at Delta Airlines, we would talk and meet because they were on my projects. And so I'm always, having interaction with them. And she's always like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm traveling here. I'm teaching this class. I'm doing this. One day she called me slipping. And she's like, what's going on, Tamara? I'm like, oh, nothing. She's like, good. You can teach our class. I was like, no. And that's how it started. So literally, I feel like I know I had 3 jobs. I was a program manager. I was an on-site consultant coach, and then I taught my first corporate boot camp in the evening at Delta Airlines.
Wow.
That's what I said.
That's amazing. Yeah. Okay. Well, no, that's a busy schedule, and you were married at this time. How did you juggle all of that? Because I know that's the thing. A lot of people, men and women, struggle with is like, I want it all. Like, I got a wife and 2 kids. I got a business, a day job, a podcast. I'm like, yo, this is
a lot.
A lot. So you got 3 jobs and a family. How was that?
It was actually better. Right. So here's the thing, because my husband knew me before I had the project management tools, and that's the Tamara he did not like. And we worked together. We both worked for the federal government together. GSA, worked in the same building. So he saw the projects I was on. Actually, he shadowed me because he did a rotation, and so he saw what I did every day. So now that I have the project management tools, I didn't have that second shift working at home, finishing up my projects and working on the schedule and emailing. And so now I'm working more effectively and efficiently. So actually, I have more time.
Gotcha. So you said that's the Tamara he didn't like because you weren't as organized, as structured, or as efficient, or what?
Exactly. So he would call it the second shift. Well, actually, so we used to commute from downtown Atlanta to our house, and on certain days, and we would pull up in the garage.
Yeah.
And he would go get the mail. I would call him Mr. Rogers. He go get the mail. And I would come upstairs full bonnet at like 4 o'clock because we get off early at the government. And he would call me a transformer. Like, whoa, didn't we just carpool together? Like, you have out of your suit and stilettos into full bonnet. Like, I was always exhausted.
He said, hey, what I can't be at? What did Tamara with the stilettos at? Like, bring her back over
that's
here
for
real
corporate, but when we get home, like, instantly. So...
That's a true man, you know. He like, look, I don't mind the bonnet. Sometimes he like, look,
it's not even dark outside.
Tired. It's 4:30. You about ready to go to bed? What's up? Like, come on. Okay, that's fine. How did you say? So y'all met through the job?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's that's commonplace with the government.
Okay.
That is common.
Up there fraternizing with co-workers at the job.
Well,
what started that? Like,
so. This is a funny story. So I was an intern, a mid-career intern at the government. So intern in government is different than intern in corporate. And so they wanted to, I was part of their succession plan, as you said, to move up to be an SESer. So it was a breakfast we had with the presidential appointee. And I never forget, we had to get up at like 5 in the morning and go to this breakfast. And we're in this room. And the guy, he was from another region. And he asked us, is anybody in here single? It's like 6:30 in the morning, and we like, oh, this is so going? Inappropriate, but yes, where like, is where is this going?
Yeah.
We have sleep, inappropriate conversation. So he tells this whole story of when he got the call from Obama, because it's during Obama administration, from the Bush-Obama transition. And the whole story he told was, you need to marry somebody not that's evenly yoked, but in government that knows government, that works for the government. Because they're going to know. If you have somebody from corporate, they don't understand. Place that in the back of my head as inappropriate. Fast forward a couple months later, they have another group of interns. And make a long story short, I met this group. We hung out together. We kicked it together. We traveled together. And one day, so now I'm like, okay, corporate, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's what that story was about.
Yeah. What was the line he used? I'm just curious. And if it's too personal, let me know.
Actually,
it wasn't a line. It was just like
wasn't. We were friends. We were mid-career interns with the government, and most of them were retired Air Force, except me. I came from corporate. Yeah. And so we were on this succession plan. And so a lot of government employees, it's a different environment. Let me just say that's a different culture. And so we all stuck together. When I say we went to the club together, we traveled to D.C. together to do our contract classes, our project classes, and we just really became a family. Yeah. And so,
that's cool. Because corporate, is more, we might go to a happy hour. We'll go to the conferences together, but it's not like family, almost not like that kind of relationship.
So, it really was.
Cool. That's really a close bond, close-knit bond.
Yeah.
It makes sense, too, because a lot of them are ex-military, so, they're used to being,
correct.
So involved. So that's cool. Yeah, no, I like to kind of learn a little bit more about, the personal, because we're all human at the end of the day, and it's not just, everything is not compartmentalized. Everything kind of blends into each other.
Absolutely.
If the personal life is kind of in disarray, then it affects the business or
absolutely.
All of that. So that's cool. But I'm glad that he encouraged you to know.
Encourage is a soft word.
It's strong. I don't know what's the right adjective, but I'm glad he did what he had to do let you see the value you were providing to people.
Correct.
And how much value you were giving away or
For
selling
free.
yourself short. So
Absolutely.
that's cool. That's cool. When did you make the jump from going from like 3 jobs to full-time entrepreneur or just one job?
So I want to say 2018, 19, Delta wanted to hire me full time, but I like contracting because I like the different projects. And so I decided to, go to another company. And here comes COVID. So it's my COVID baby.
Yeah.
So I was doing a class every quarter as time would allow. So I woke up, went to bed. Everybody's like, I want to stack my money. I'm scared. I don't want to spend this money. Woke up, full class. Bing, 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 bing. That's what I said. Because people want to upskill. People are like, wait a minute. I have time and I need to upskill.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. I went from teaching a class once a quarter to every month and sometimes twice a month.
Okay.
So that's how it happened, literally.
Yeah.
And then referrals and that LinkedIn algorithm.
Okay. Dope. So what percentage of your customers come from like LinkedIn versus referrals or maybe some other avenue?
I would say 95% referrals.
Nice. Word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
Still the best way to go.
It is. But the algorithm on LinkedIn helps it.
Yeah.
But they know me from a connection and they do the introduction, and a lot of them are already connected by 1 or 2 people. And then if somebody does the introduction, like, okay, this 3 times this girl Tamara pops up.
Yeah.
Let me see what this is about.
Okay. Hey, you just hit on something. You worked in corporate, worked in government, also a contractor. Can we kind of talk about like some of the pros and cons of those different sectors, industries?
Okay.
And I guess we can kind of start with like consultant versus direct hire.
Okay.
Like what would be the pros and cons of like being a direct hire employee versus a consultant? Is one more money, more flexible?
So definitely as a contractor, more money.
Okay.
How it depends if you're a 1099 contractor, because they do have W-2 contractors. And I call it like Burger King, you can have it your way. So in this contract world, everything goes. But I will say, myself as a contractor, it teaches you to be good with your money. You cannot be 3 months in the bank. You have to have 6. So when COVID hit, I had 5 and a possible. I had pinched off a little bit, but I had a good 5.5 months of living expenses because in between contracts, you got to have your money stacked. You have to live different. And so I like it because of that. In addition to that, you're not tied to a department. So in corporate, when you're tied to a department, you have to get your boss to sign off for you to move around and relocate and do all that. As a contractor, you go find the projects that you like.
Gotcha.
So that way I'm not tied to a department. I love that.
That's nice. So as a contractor, where do most of your new contracts come from? Like headhunters, recruiting, staffing
Absolutely.
agencies? Or
all of the above.
word of mouth as well, I'm assuming?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that's cool. That's kind of counterintuitive. It makes sense that you got to have money stacked in case, it's taking a minute for you to get a new contract. Did you feel more secure as a contractor with that 6 months in the bank versus like as a direct hire?
Yes.
Really?
Because you don't have that same scarcity sitting there in Cubicle City. Am I going to be next for this Zoom that, with HR on it? You could, not to say you could care less, but you good either way.
Yeah.
And you know that there's no ties, so you already know that. So you don't have that sense of belonging to this organization.
That's a good point. So your expectations already set in terms of like 9 months, year, 18 months.
Correct.
And you're getting paid more hourly.
Correct.
For your time.
Correct.
So, okay, that makes sense. That's cool, cool. Are you able to share like money, salary in your past life?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm open. Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's talk about it.
Okay.
What can people expect? Well, let me not make it that broad. I guess throughout your career, what were like some of the pay ranges you made? I guess maybe in the 2018 to COVID time, like as a project manager, what did that kind of pay rate look like? So
let me just say this. It's definitely 6 figures. And I'm surprised at people that are not making 6 figures because normally I wouldn't even start with that because I thought everybody in project management made 6 figures. Yeah. But I'm seeing that they don't. So I have to say that.
Even today, you're seeing that they don't?
Uh-huh. Oh, wow. And the reason is because they're FTEs.
Like what you said. Okay.
And when I'm like, wow. But if you think about it, if you're in an organization, you're getting 3 or 4% raises,
Yep.
maybe 6 if you're a high performer and your company did good.
Yeah.
If you're job hopping is what they call it. I call it being intuitive, having transferable skills, ready to do something different. You're getting $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 bumps every time you go to another organization. I have the receipts and my clients have the receipts.
Yeah.
Every week I'm getting 2 or 3 people like, Tamara, I thought you was putting some on it, but they were like, I just got a $40,000 increase going from one employer for the next, doing the same job. Like I told you.
Yeah. That's the same thing I hear all the time. And it's like, for the high performers, you see it. John, please don't leave me. I'm going to take care of you, bro. For the high performers, I always see, like, when I'm looking at their LinkedIn or their resume, it's like, 6 months to a year, 6 months to a year, 6 months to a year. And they're like moving. Sometimes they're in the same industry, moving different roles.
Correct.
Or staying in the same role, same industry, but just kind of promoting. Sometimes they're maybe crossing industries. And then you start seeing them, okay, they become people leaders kind of early on as well. So it makes sense. And I don't know why companies, I guess they got to have some kind of structure or system. I don't know, just kind of thinking out loud. Maybe they have some kind of structure or system where like they don't want to get in a bidding war maybe with their own employees. But to me, it's like, you're going to let Tamara leave for a job that's going to pay her maybe 20 grand, 40 grand more. And then you're going to have to hire somebody else and they may be looking for the same thing. So it's like, why not just reward your customers, your employees that are already here? So I don't really know why they don't really.
Well. So I have.
Come on, hit me.
So this is my thing, and I keep it 100 with my clients and people that I coach. I ask them, when was the last time you asked for that increase? Crickets. I asked this week.
Yeah.
With my group. No, 2 people said they had asked, but that's because they had been getting coaching from me. And 2 of those said that it's under advisement. And they're looking at bringing them up. One is a $40,000 raise. One is a $50,000 raise. And when well, nobody asks.
Yeah,
Open your mouth.
I know they feeling mad too. Like, dang, I ain't asked earlier.
And what it is if you can quantitative in bullets, because nobody wants to read a dissertation on what you have brought to the organization, what you have improved, what you have decreased, put some numbers to it. And here,
Let's sit there for a minute. So I was at TSU on Tuesday. Was it Tuesday or Wednesday? Tuesday or Wednesday. One of these days this week, it was Pay Equity Day, maybe. I guess women's pay. So
yes.
There's every thing has a day. Where basically
68 cents.
Yeah, so I was invited. I have a friend. She invited me to speak on a panel, and we were talking to 100 Black women. That's the name of the organization here in Houston. Okay. And so it was different recruiters, because I have a recruiting agency. It was different recruiters and HR professionals giving their experience with negotiating their salary. And so we talked about the pay disparity. We talked about salary negotiations. We talked about keeping a brag book or capturing your wins.
I just talked about that today with my client.
Yeah. So tell me, give me some advice. Why I need to be doing this, and like, what is this? How do I do it? And like, I guess the importance of it.
Oh, this is a whole nother podcast. But let me just say this. Management, they have so many people that they're managing, including themselves. And so, do you know what you ate yesterday? Do you know what you wore yesterday? No. So how do you expect somebody else to remember what you did last year for the whole 12 months? They just cannot. And even you can't. So if you don't write it down, because we tend to go to the next. So in your notes on your phone, when you're texting and emailing, you need to just put these projects and have it bam, bam, bam. A lot of my clients, they hate performance review. I'm excited about performance review because now I get to show what I've done, what I brought to the table. And if you don't have it in bullets quantifiably, then it's a non-conversation. You getting that 3%. You getting that 3%. And I was taught that in my 20s.
Yeah.
So you have to do it. And then another thing is, and I coach on this, women, we always say we. We did this and we did that. Men say I. So women are giving credit to everybody else. So when it comes to raise and promotion time, guess who's getting the raise and promotion? Them. We. Now we got to split it. You see how that's different? You see how that's different?
Yeah. Why do you think that is? That just the verbiage, or like a man saying like, yeah, man, I started a podcast to help market this technology. I went ahead and implemented some new framework, and now we're more efficient. I save money. The women are like, yeah, we worked with the team to make sure that the customer was satisfied, and then we talked about different. So why do you think that is? That even like, is it just being humble or like
too humble? And I think it's the way we're raised, because we're raised to play nice, and if they hit you, don't hit them back. Well, my mom's from South Side of Chicago, so I had to go hit them back. I didn't grow up like that.
In the house until you do. Huh?
That was my mom.
Okay.
Like, she prissy, but she's from the South Side of Chicago. And I remember she told a story about, I had a new jump rope, and I didn't know how to double dutch. She tried to teach me in St. Louis, and I was like, I don't need to know how to do that. She's like, all right, bet. We went to Chicago like every summer for the whole summer. They jump and double dutch. I'm like, dang. So I'm outside. They took my double dutch rope. They took my double dutch rope, and they're jumping. And I came in the house, and I was like, push me back out the house. Like, you got to tell them they got two choices. Teach you how to jump or get your damn rope.
Yeah.
And she closed the door.
What you gonna do?
Then.
Yeah.
And so that's how I just grew up like that. Like,
gotcha.
I just grew up like that.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good point. And I see some parallels between me and your husband, because like, me and my wife, we would have these conversations. I'd be like, look, babe, they're going to ask you about salary during the interview or during the performance review. You got to have a number in mind that you want. I got it, babe, I got it.
And not in mind. You gotta have that number written down.
Look, Tamara, it never failed. She would get done with the interview. She'd like, I did good, but I messed up on the salary. Like, they asked me what I wanted. I told them a range, and it was like way lower than the number we talked about. And I'm like, why did you do it? It was just, I think it's like that, that discomfort of, asking for something. Then I'm going to tell you what tripped my wife out. And my wife, she had numerous roles in this organization she was working at. And one of the roles she moved into was an HR role.
Oh, now she see.
She got a chance to see everybody's salary.
Whoa.
She got a chance to see how much she was underpaid.
Whoa.
When she was a people leader.
Yeah.
And how much her counterparts were making. And she never got over it. She was just hurt. And it's like, man, it's like, but I wanted to, like, I'm glad she got a chance to see that, because
absolutely.
I always felt like she sold herself short or just didn't advocate for herself the way she should have. And I think a lot of people kind of
absolutely. So back to coaching, I love women that have kids. I use their kids against them. I have friends that pay $25,000, $30,000 for kindergarten, and some of them have twins. So that is going to make them feel comfortable and go ask for that money.
Yeah.
School is expensive. All these extracurricular activities. And so for me, I have a questionnaire. When they say they have kids, I'm like, you got nieces and nephews? Because mine, they're expensive. She got a car, the other one wants a car. And so these are things that women will advocate for more money if it's tied to their why. And their why has to be strong and significant.
I like that. Yeah. No, them daycares was hitting me up for $1,800 when I had a newborn.
And that's what I'm saying.
I was like, what?
And
that was more than my rent and everything else. So I was like, this is ridiculous. I was like, ridiculous. Okay. But no, that's cool. I'm glad you kind of broke that down, because I think, the way I kind of see it is like, you got to envision yourself as an entity, as a business, regardless of if you want to be an entrepreneur or just a working professional for somebody else. And that means you got to know how to market.
Absolutely.
You got to know how to sell. You got to know how to do all this to advocate for yourself, because nobody else is going to do it better than you.
Nobody.
So that's cool. Man, so you were talking about something completely different, and we went down that rabbit hole, but I'm glad we did. So we talked about salary a little bit. 6 figures is what, that's kind of what you kind of encourage people. High 6?
Yes.
So what we talking about, like 150 plus?
That's medium.
Okay, what we talking about is high.
So I would say 5 years, 75, 85, 10 years, you should be about 135, 175. 15, 20, you should be almost at 200 or above. Like literally, especially if you live in a metropolitan area and you have tech and different things. Absolutely. And what I do, I'm from the Show Me State. So when I take my clients, you can look on LinkedIn. If your LinkedIn is filled out properly, it's going to tell you the salary of what you should be getting, like with the jobs that come up.
Yeah.
It's going to tell you.
Yeah. That's a good point. And then you can even look at, I guess, I know there's certain roles like in California, certain states have salary transparency.
The range is so, yeah.
Yeah, so, got to try to figure that part out. But that's a good point. Okay, the salary piece, that's always important, of course. So you were doing the 3 jobs. You started when COVID hit. You got the high demand from individuals. You like, look, okay, I got to drop everything else and go after this, full time. So you've been doing full-time coaching now since around, 2020?
I think so, yeah. I mean, time has flown by so quick. About 2020, absolutely. Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
Gotcha. What's kind of the goal for the company now? Like you mentioned mastermind, so that's something
Yeah,
else.
so I have a coach, and so I was totally against it at first. I'm not gonna lie, I was just like, group coaching, it doesn't work. I've been in these programs, but my coach now, she a beast. So now I see the benefit and how much I have grown, and the people in my mastermind. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing this, and I've only been doing it for 2 months, and my clients have grown tremendously in 2 months. So
Nice.
so just to take this even bigger and further. So now I'm doing organizations as well, and the government as well.
Okay.
So
The
absolutely,
government contracting money.
Let's get to it. Yeah. So actually, yeah, I'm negotiating a nice little deal, and they've come to me. And and listen to this, because I have quite a few clients, and this is once again LinkedIn and the algorithm. They reached out to me a couple weeks ago, and they were like, "Who is this girl?" They said, "I received your name from quite a few people," but what they noticed is their contractors show up different and managing their projects different, and now they need to upskill their employees. I didn't realize on this particular contract, I had to look because she mentioned a name. And I was like, whoa, I've done 12 people on this contract, at least.
Wow.
At least 12 people on this particular contract. And I don't know a lot about the contract because it is confidential, so it's very vague. So I guess I didn't put it together. But when they reached out to me, I was like, okay, now I see.
Yo, that's powerful.
So I'm excited.
Yo, that's big. Congratulations.
I'm excited. Thank you.
That's real big. I think there's always so many different, the government, and we confirm this, the government is the biggest employer in America.
And the crazy thing is, I work for GSA, General Services Administration, who is the landlord, the Walmart of government. So I know this.
Yeah.
And so, but that was the corporate government W-2 mentality. Now I have the entrepreneurship, the boss, the company, corporate, being a business owner mentality.
Yeah.
So now it's different. I'm on the other side.
Yo, that's cool. How much of what you do in terms of the coaching and stuff is, mindset shift?
Woo, 100%.
Really?
100%. You can know this, but like you say, even with your wife, if she doesn't, you practice it, you talked about it, if she doesn't go in there, she has to have the or the why or something. She has to ask for herself because you're not going to be there. Yeah. And that's what my clients, I can give them all the tools, but we work on mindset throughout. Literally. Yeah. Literally. I threw a pen at somebody today, literally.
What?
A virtual pen. we're like, she had a meeting and she said she wants to transition to AI. And we were going over her LinkedIn, her resume, and she's like, I don't have technology, da da da. And she just told me a story. She worked for one of the major automotive companies, luxury companies. And she told me a project she did with an iPad versus Microsoft, and she went to New York, Atlanta, and I'm just sitting there listening to her. You want to get into technology?
Yeah.
You did what?
Yeah.
In the car,
Yeah. I don't know what I think, to your point, to your mindset point, I think there's I don't know if there's misconceptions about what is tech or what, but I literally just had a conversation with somebody about this. She was like, yeah, I want to break into tech. And she was like, yeah, I've been a COO of where was she working? I don't know if it was a nonprofit or a small company. And she was like, yeah, I was a consultant. I was helping them with Oracle, implementing Oracle stuff. And then she was like, yeah, I was doing such and such. And I said, wait, you say you want to break into tech? I was like, what do you mean? Hasn't he been doing it? Like, what are you like? So I don't. And she didn't want to be a coder or a programmer. So it's like I don't
That's
really
what
know
people think it is. And so we need to like reverse this and define tech.
Yeah.
Because I think that is the biggest myth is that you have to be coding or you have to actually be an engineer to be considered tech.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I was trying to ask her. I was like, we didn't have time to get into it, but I was like, look, you got to figure out what you want. Because I said, when you say get into tech, do you mean you want a technical role, like software engineer, mechanical, computer engineer, AI, whatever? Or do you mean you want to work for a tech company?
Correct.
And I was like, it's people say both sides of the things. Like, hey, I want to work for a tech company, get into tech, whether it's HR, finance, whatever, for like Microsoft. Or do I want to be like one of those engineers? It's like, it's all about, knowing what you want, number
Absolutely.
one. But then, I think sometimes people make this thing up in their head where it's like breaking the tech and it's like something else, some mystical thing that's like, I don't know. But to your point, like your student, it's like, you're already doing it. Make sure you're communicating those skills.
Absolutely. And she totally forgot. And guess what? She had a call today with the chief of staff for this organization that she used to work for because they need some information from her. I said, if you don't talk to him about going back.
Yes.
And going in, she was like, well, I don't want to be the same. You're not the same. You have been to 3 other organizations. And so anyway, I had to coach her today, but I threw the pen. But the question was, I threw the pen at the laptop. But that's what my coach did for me. So my coach, Rachel Rogers, we were in Puerto Rico a couple months ago, and that's exactly what she did to me.
Okay.
I did the same thing, and I caught myself, and she threw the pen at me, and I was like, ding, now I get it.
Yeah.
Now I get it.
Now, I think coaching is important because I think sometimes, just having somebody that you can talk through it with, but then also they have experience and a different perspective than you.
That part.
And then sometimes just reframing things. Like I was talking to a coach one time and I was like, yeah, man, I got this figured out. I got the vision for the business. It's working. I just need to go do the thing. Like go from creative mindset to like selling mindset. And it's like,
Absolutely.
I just feel, he's like, why don't you do it? And I was like, I don't know. I think the creative part is more fun and, you're adding value, you're creating value. He's like, why don't you just reframe the way you're thinking about it? Like, think about like, hey, how much value can you create for people by selling them whatever or giving them whatever? So it's all kinds of stuff and tidbits that like working with people that can like really reshape the way you're thinking about things. So it sounds like you're doing quite a bit of that. That's good.
Trying to.
No, you're doing it.
Thank you. Thank you.
What if people want to like? So what services providing like PMP coaching, mastermind?
I do PMP coaching, Agile as well, because Agile is the next. It is here.
Yeah.
Even if companies say they're not going to Agile, they're hybrid. So I do the PMP certification. I do the hybrid, the Agile coaching, and if you graduate from that, then you can apply to be on my mastermind.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
The light just turned off.
Which one?
That one.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. You want to plug it in or you want to just leave? What does it look like?
It looks like she has a light.
It's like, it looks like what it looks like. What do you think? Here, I'm going to plug it in. Let me know if the cord is like too visible.
I mean, it's okay. It's just a cord at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I think.
And they're worried about the cord. They're worried about the wrong thing.
Look, I'm gonna tell you, people do be worried about the wrong thing.
I know that, but I tell them that. So my mouth is like real bad. Like I will tell them that.
Look, I'm gonna tell you. So I launched a job board for entry level
I
professionals.
did see that. Yep.
When I first launched it, it's called noexperiencejob.io. In case anybody want to check it out.
Input the ad. I'm gonna input the ad right here.
If you're looking for an entry-level job that doesn't require any years of experience, check out noexperiencejob.io. This is a job board that spotlights entry-level jobs that don't require any experience. The great thing about the job board is that you can filter jobs to only find remote or on-site jobs. And then also you can filter jobs based on the city, such as Houston, Detroit, Seattle, wherever you're at in North America. You can also filter jobs based on if it's a full-time position, internship, or a contract role. While you're on the site, make sure you sign up for our weekly newsletter. We send out jobs each and every week that we think are very interesting or that may be appealing to you. My goal for 2024 is to help as many people possible land their dream job. If that sounds interesting, make sure you check out noexperiencejob.io. When I first launched it, I had a couple bugs in it. And so the job, when people click on the job, and this is a quick story, when they click on the job, it would show the job title, the company, the industry, whether it's full-time, W-2, 1099, whatever, in the pay. For one of those things, I don't even think it was the pay. I think it was like the industry. I had like a placeholder text, and I was like, "This is a div block, so this is a text block essentially." And when I launched it, I was like, "Look, I got to launch this, get this
MVP.
out there." Yeah, exactly. I was like, "I don't know if this is gonna work or not." It went viral on LinkedIn when I posted it, like 600,000 engagements, 1,000 plus reshares. But that this is a text block is still there. When I went to the comments of my LinkedIn post, oh my God, it says this is a text block. And I'm like, this is why some of y'all...
Or where you're at right now.
Because your mind is... Like, literally, I saw one comment that said, hey, the site is great, but this is a div block. That's really kind of distracting. And I was like, yo...
Don't even respond. Don't. I just keep scrolling. When people like that, no time.
I was like, I appreciate the feedback. I was like, this is a work in progress. But it was like, it just really opened my eyes to like, some people do get distracted by the wrong thing.
Yeah. But when people do that to me, I say, well, everybody pull out their phones. I don't know about droids, but I'm like, what does Apple do every 30 days? They're like, oh, send us an update. Is it perfect? No.
Never.
It's agile.
Never. And I think people are, very critical when it's like the small and medium sized entrepreneurs and businesses. They want it to be like extremely perfect and polished. But to your point, Apple be having issues, Microsoft be having
everybody.
Issues. And
that's technology.
Yeah, exactly. And those companies pay people to find the issues as well.
And it's us, really, because we give them the feedback on the functionality, things that we write in about, the upgrades that we like and we don't like, what we're using and not using. We're giving them feedback.
Yeah, that's true. What are you kind of seeing like in the market right now? Like in terms of job opportunities, and then also from candidates. I've noticed, are there as many Scrum Master jobs out there?
You know
seem like
what?
It's as many.
They're slowing down. I don't, I got my certification. That's not my thing, but I know people that teach it, and they're saying it's slowing down.
Okay.
And I think I know why.
What is it? Give me your hypothesis.
I just feel like they're in a silo. That's just my opinion. Like, you have to know what comes before and after. But if you're just being a Scrum Master, then you're missing the big picture. That is my personal opinion, because I've been a product owner before, and I know how I think versus people that are Scrum Masters and just product owners and have no reference, and I know how they run their project. That's just my personal opinion on what's going on.
Okay. What about like on the project management side? Are you seeing opportunities still coming, or is
Absolutely.
it kind of
No. It is gearing up, but I will say this: you do have to. Now, this is like dating. Like, you gotta put your, you have to put your A game on. You really do, because all the companies they're still laying off. I have a couple clients now that have been given their 5-week notice with some of these major corporations. So it's a lot of people looking. So you got to stand out. Yeah. You do have to stand out.
Gotcha. No, that's a good.
Because they're very selective, and they have the cream of the crop now.
Yeah. What to that point, I've had somebody come up to me recently at a talk I gave, and they asked me, "Look, man, I applied to like 100 jobs. What can I do different?" Like, for that scenario, if somebody asked you that question, what would kind of be your response?
Deep sigh, first of all. And then I go look at their LinkedIn, and it's just nothing. Their resume is a job description. It's just, like I said, it's like dating. Like, what is going to separate you from somebody else? And we spend so much time trying to blend in. In the job market, you have to stand out. You have to stand out. That's what I would tell them. And get a coach. I don't have money. You got Beyonce money. You got Taylor Swift money. You got coaching money. You do. You do.
That's a good point. Yeah, I like that. I think, people got to brand themselves. There's so many different opportunities to kind of let companies know like what value you bring to the organization, to your point. And then
Absolutely.
Also, what your opinion is on current topics in tech or whatever industry you're looking to get into. So I think it's ample opportunities out there for people to promote themselves better or market themselves better. Absolutely. On the job seeker side, are you seeing candidates kind of open to like not remote work? I know they definitely open to remote work. Are you seeing people open to like relocating for opportunities? Because I think that may be something that some people are missing out on.
I don't.
No.
I don't. And I ask a lot of people, are you open? They say no. I said, oh, okay. Well, okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people said they're not willing to go back to the office. I'm like, well, maybe 1 or 2 days. And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, so you just sliced off the whole. And just let's be clear, my clients that are going in the office is still one or 2 days optional.
Yeah.
And are they really going in? Not really. But you want to cut this whole opportunity off just for not going in. Here's the thing. When you go in, you get to learn people and know the organization. At home, I am an introvert extrovert since COVID. So I can network online, but a lot of people can't. And so you miss the benefit of being in the office and getting to know people, getting to know the organization. A lot of people need to go in the office. I'm just going to be frank.
Yo, that's real. I think there does need to be, so it's possible for us to work remotely to get all the same work
it is.
done.
Oh,
Like,
100%.
yeah, we're on the same page there. But I think people do need somewhat of a reality check about like some of the benefits of going in the office.
Absolutely.
Like, my very first job, thank God, I had a great supervisor, and then I had a great mentor. Me and my mentor, like, he was a legit mentor. My internship mentor, like, I saw this dude the first and the last day of my internship. Never talked to him
Mine
before.
too.
I was like, weren't we supposed to be talking throughout this whole time?
Mine too.
He just took me to dinner to go out, like, lunch. But anyway, for my first job, I had a great mentor. And, like, we would talk, like, multiple times during the week, worked on the same team.
Okay.
One of the things that him and my supervisor told me was like, look, we would sit down and look at the org chart. He was like, look, the things that's going to help you get wherever you want to get to on this org chart is like not just the things you're doing from 9 to 5. He says the things you're doing from 5 to 9.
Absolutely.
And so he's like, here, we're real big. I was at General Motors.
Okay.
They were real big in like what they call the world in motion. That was, we would go to different middle schools or schools and teach them about STEM and technology. And so he's like, something you should think about. Habitat for Humanity. Another thing, something you should think about. All the people leaders, the directors, and above are going to be there. So it's like, look at what projects are going on that you may want to work on. Maybe volunteer for one of them. So all those things are things that, like, if you just focus on, you know, the benefits of remote work, you know, not having to deal with traffic, not having to dress up, not having to, you know, bake it in certain people's faces that you really don't want to see, you miss out on all the other benefits of in person.
You just brought up a good point. I tell people, okay, I don't know if I want to sugarcoat this, but
Yeah, you ain't got to.
I tell people all the time, if you're going to play the game, get in the game.
Yeah.
You going to play the game and sit on the sideline and wonder why you're being benched and you're not really getting the benefits. If you're going to play the game, suit up and play. Suit up and play.
That's a perfect analogy. Yeah, that's a perfect
I'm
analogy.
like,
'Cause I'm
if you're going to
thinking,
play
like,
it, you're going to go to corporate, but you're not going to do this, you're not going to do that, you got all these, you're not playing the game. And then you wonder why you're not on the starting lineup.
That's a perfect analogy. So, did you play sports in school?
So I want to be in grade school.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you remember I wanted to be a sports journalist.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was into sports.
No, because I mean, even at like the high school level, that's where I was. That's as far as I went. But like even then, like you would not let another person take your reps. Like if you in practice, you ain't gonna let, if you playing receiver, cornerback, whatever position you playing, you're not just gonna let the other guy that's competing for your same spot be like, oh yeah, you can go ahead, bro, just take my spot, like over and over and over again.
But that's what you do in corporate.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I don't know. It's simple, but I didn't even think about it until you just said it. It's like, you know, it's the same concept.
It is.
It's like you letting somebody else get shine in front of the coach, letting somebody else get better at something than you.
Yeah.
And then you wondering why you're not getting in the game to actually play and perform at a high level.
Exactly. You want to when it's, you know, Monday Night Football, you want to shine. No.
You gotta show up for practice.
Yeah, you got to show up for practice. Practice. No.
That's a good point. Okay. Yeah, no, I was just curious about some of the perspectives and things you're seeing. I think you could add a lot of value. I don't know if this is something you're doing, you will be doing with consulting or working with the government, but I think companies would be really interested in some of the insights you can provide about like what candidates are expecting and what they're thinking and what they're expecting from companies and culture and the job market and all of that. Because I think the companies have their idea, but, you know, we obviously know there's oftentimes disconnects between
huge. And I've actually been approached quite a bit about that. At the time, I did not have the bandwidth, but now I've hired some people. Okay. As my coach said, you know, I had to hire some people. I just offered a couple of people full-time positions in my company, so that I can free up my time to do other things like that. So yeah, so I can start saying yes more.
That's what's up. Okay, that's cool. Look, man, I had a blast. I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
I think I've asked you everything I want to ask you in this interview.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have you back again for a part 2 if you're willing.
Absolutely.
This has been a blast across the board. I guess we gotta let people know like where they can find you and the company and all that kind of stuff, all that good stuff. So like, how do people go about becoming PMP certified or getting coaching and all that kind of stuff?
Absolutely. So definitely follow me on LinkedIn. So Tamara McLemore on LinkedIn. And then you can go to my website, iwantmypmp.com. So
Oh, I like that. I want my PMP.com.
there you go.
Okay, that's what's up. That's cool. All right, good stuff. Yo, so real quick, in 5 years, I'm gonna get you back on the podcast before then. But in 5 years, what's Tamara McLemore gonna be up to, or where are you gonna be at in that stage in your life?
So
or in your career?
what island or what beach, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, we're going.
So we're gonna be like global, like literally global, and we're gonna have so many Black, brown men and women PMP certified, running companies, organizations, and we're gonna be in colleges and universities. That's on my list. Absolutely. Because now it's a major. When I was in school, it's a major now. It's some universities.
Okay.
Absolutely. Morgan State, Harris Stowe. I can name some other colleges where project management is a major now. Absolutely.
I didn't even know that. That's cool though. I like the global play. Hey, there's an opportunity in Africa. Like, it's big. So it be people from Nigeria hit me up all the time. Like, hey, you got any opportunities? You got any? So it's somebody, it may be multiple people, are gonna make a solution where it's a training, education, upskilling, but then an employment solution for these hundreds of millions of people in Africa, and it's gonna be massive, and it's gonna be game over for that person that creates it. So
All right, it's gonna be us.
yeah, there we go. So that's cool. But look, I want my PMP.com. I like that. That's dope. Cool. Look, this has been a great episode, Tamara. I really appreciate you making time for me. Had a lot of fun. You say you were nervous.
Thank
before
you.
We started.
I'm always nervous, like literally.
Butterflies,
like nervous, butterflies, sweat, all that. I'm always nervous. I'm always nervous.
You did good. You did amazing.
I appreciate this.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. So look, guys, I always forget to tell people to subscribe at the beginning of this thing, but hopefully y'all enjoyed this. I know y'all did. But I hope you guys subscribe, like this video, share it with somebody. Make sure you check out Miss Tamara's website, iwantmypmp.com. Stay tuned for more great episodes on the Custom Journeys podcast. That's it for this episode. Peace.